So back to our channel. Now we are at our blood physiology in our red blood cells, that is our RBC, also called as erythrocytes. So first we need to, same like all our chapters, we need to see some important terms and start our topic. So first one is a glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase, that is also in simple form known as G6PD. So this G6PD is basically an enzyme and it is in pentose phosphate pathway. So this G6PD converts the glucose 6 phosphate into 6-phosphoglucone delta lactone. So glucose 6 phosphate into 6-phosphoglucone delta lactone by means of this G6PD. So this pathway mainly maintains the level of coenzyme nicotinamide. Coenzyme nicotinamide level is maintained by G6PD. Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. So this is NADPH. So we know NADPH. So the value of this NADPH is maintained mainly by this of this G6PD, which maintains the supply of reduced glutathione, which prevents the oxidative damage. So to prevent the oxidative damage, all this process is going on. Once again, let us see to understand it clearly. So it is an enzyme in a pentose phosphate pathway, and it converts glucose 6 phosphate into 6-phosphoglucone delta lactone, and this pathway maintains the level of coenzyme nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, that is NADPH, which maintains the supply of reduced glutathione and which in turn prevents the oxidative damage. So what is hematocrit? It is the proportion of whole blood in red blood cells, typically about 42%. So hematocrit means, for example, if you are taken a solution, blood solution, and if you centrifuge it, because of centrifugation process, all the red blood cells come bottom and the plasma will be floating on the top. So this bottom all red blood cells which are packed together, it is nothing but denoting the hematocrit, that is nothing but the number of red blood cells present in the blood, that is nothing but hematocrit means how much volume our red blood cells are taking in a whole blood. So that is about 42%. So in our blood about 42% we have red blood cells. And next, coming to Kupffer cells. So these are specialized macrophages mainly located in liver and in the lining walls of sinusoids. So these cells mainly form the part of reticuloendothelial system. Kupffer cells are nothing but macrophages mainly present in liver, that too in which part of the liver? In the endothelials of sinusoids. We have sinusoids in liver. You can see our histology videos of liver to understand these concepts. So these cells mainly form the part of reticuloendothelial system. So now let us start our discussion on RBC. So red blood cells are also known as erythrocyte, mainly helpful in transport of hemoglobin, because red blood cells have hemoglobin and it carries oxygen. In turn, this hemoglobin carries oxygen from the lungs to the tissues. Because from in lungs only our oxygen is formed, from the lungs to the tissues, our blood carries the oxygen mainly by means of hemoglobin. And in lower animals, the hemoglobin circulates as a free protein in the plasma and it is not enclosed in RBC. So in lower animals, it is open circulation type for in the case of hemoglobin, but in lower animals. But in our in our humans, it is enclosed in RBC. For example, when it's free in plasma, even in humans, for example, then about 3% of it leaks by the capillary membrane into the tissue spaces or by the glomerular membrane of kidney into glomerular filtrate each time, and the blood passes by the capillaries. So here the hemoglobin so it should remain inside the RBC to perform the function in human. So in human, because of capillary membrane in our extracellular fluid, it easily passes to our interstitial fluid and it gets filled up in our extracellular fluid, and also sometimes in glomerular filtrate, it comes out as urine. So that's why in humans the hemoglobin should be in the packed form, but in lower animals even it can be as a freely circulation protein in a plasma. So RBC mainly have the large amount of carbonic anhydrase, which is an enzyme. So this carbonic anhydrase, which mainly catalyzes the reversible reaction between carbon dioxide and water to mainly form the carbonic acids. Means it is a reversible reaction, means from carbonic acid water and carbon dioxide is formed, and from water and carbonic acid again carbonic acid is formed. So this is a reversible reaction which is mainly maintained by a carbonic anhydrase, and this carbonic anhydrase enzyme is present in RBC. So why this? What happens if this is present? It mainly increases the rate of reaction to several thousand fold. So if this reaction is increased to several thousand fold, this rapid reaction makes it possible for the water of the blood to transport the carbon dioxide in the form of bicarbonate ions. So this is very important. So this carbonic anhydrase main function is to transport the carbon dioxide in the blood in the form of bicarbonates, that is HCO3 minus. So to transport carbon dioxide in the form of bicarbonates, it is mainly facilitated by carbonic anhydrase, which is present in our red blood cells. And hemoglobin is an excellent acid base buffer. It is true for most of the proteins. And this RBC is in biconcave disc, this shape biconcave disc like this. And its diameter is about 7.8 millimeter, thickness is 2.5, and at the thickest point its thickness is 2.5 millimeter, and also it's 1 millimeter lesser in the center, lesser. If you see it, RBC center, it is pale and somewhat thinner, but these two sides it's completely filled by RBC. So you can see means red blood cells, erythrocytes. So if you see our red blood cells, it somewhat looks like a bow. In middle it's pale, and on sides completely filled with red cells. So average volume of red RBC is about 90 to 95 millimeter cube. And in a healthy man, the average number of RBC per cubic millimeter are, like you can see here, 5 crores. 5 millions, and in a female it's about 4 millions. And in higher altitudes, as you are moving higher to the mountains or higher altitude places, your number of RBC are also increase. And the people who are born in those higher altitudes, they normally have higher red blood cells when compared with our lower side people. So RBC is 34 grams in 100 ml of cells. So for example, as we said, if we centrifuge a solution, we see RBC. In a 100 ml of solution, if you take 100 ml of blood, in that we have only 34 grams RBC. And the normal hematocrit is about 40 to 45%, that is the number of RBC in a blood. And in female, the average of 15 grams of hemoglobin is present per 100 ml. And in uh, sorry, it's in male. In male it is about 15 grams in 100 ml, and in female it is 14 grams per 100 ml. So this is a hemoglobin value which is present in our blood. And each hemoglobin mainly carries 1.34 ml of oxygen. So normally in a male, you can say 20 ml of oxygen is carried in with hemoglobin in each 100 ml of blood. And in normal female, 90 ml of oxygen can be carried. So in female there is somewhat lesser amount of oxygen carried when compared with male. And in adult, hematocrit is 42 in case of male and 38 in case of female. So adult hematocrit is 42 in male, female 38. So these values you need to just remember them. And true hematocrit is only about 96% of measured hematocrit. So this hematocrit also means like the amount of RBC present in blood, as we are saying, it's about 40 to 45%. It's not really a true value. It is only up to 96% only true, not 100% true, because 3 to 4% of plasma also sometimes may remain even if we do centrifugation in a very high power. So in a male, this is about 0.40 hematocrit, and in a female is 0.36. And if in the case of severe anemia, number of RBC are decreased, so it is 0.10. In the case of polycythemia means increase in number of RBC, so here it is 0.65. And normally the lifespans of RBC is 120 days. So mature RBC, remember this is very important point, it doesn't have any nucleus, it doesn't have mitochondria, it also don't have endoplasmic reticulum, and only have the cytoplasmic enzymes which mainly metabolize the glucose and also form ATP and maintain the pliability of the membranes, and also help in transport of ions in RBC and keep the iron is nothing but our ferrum, keep the ferrum of hemoglobin in a ferrous form rather than ferric form, because it should always be in a ferrous form. We will see all this in hemoglobin lesson. And also it prevents the oxidation of proteins in RBC, so thereby preventing the oxidation of proteins in RBC, so that most of the proteins are always available in the RBC. So these are all the functions of normal cytoplasmic proteins present in a mature RBC. So RBC gets destroyed in spleen. They are mainly squeezed by a red pulp of the spleen. Actually why they are destroyed, their membranes are lost. Because of their membranes are lost, they can't easily pass through the narrow pathways. As they can't pass through the narrow pathways, they just get stuck at that narrow pathways, and there the macrophages come up and eat them. So like that they get destroyed. So we have some conditions like congenital hemolytic anemia, which mainly occurs in hereditary spherocytosis. This is the case as I explained just now. If their membranes are lost, then our RBC comes spherical. cells. Normally it should be biconvex. Now because of the congenital hereditary problems, here the RBCs are spherical in shape. It is a family history and also having a triad of anemia, splenomegaly, and also associated with jaundice. And G6PD deficiency leads to hemolysis of RBC when exposed to oxidative stress, since the G6PD maintains a level of important intracellular antioxidant glutathione. So if this glutathione is also absent, then RBC undergo the process of hemolysis. Hemolysis means, you can understand, hemo means blood, lysis. RBC get lysis and then destroyed even when there is G6PD deficiency. And remember that hemoglobin is phagocytes mainly by macrophages, especially in the Kupffer cells of the liver, and also in the macrophages of spleen and in bone marrow. So where the where the red blood cells get destroyed, always we say spleen, not only spleen. Remember that it also may get destroyed at liver, bone marrow. And next few hours or days, the macrophages release the ferrum or iron from the hemoglobin, and it passes in back into the blood and carried by the transferrin protein mainly. So as we are saying, this RBC is getting destroyed. So after RBC get destroyed, then what that inside iron goes, where that inside iron goes, this iron just goes back into the blood. Mainly it is carried by transferrin protein, either into the bone marrow for the producing new RBCs, or into the liver, or into other tissues for storage in the form of ferritin. So it is stored in the form of ferritin, and it in the RBC it is in the form of ferrostate. So these words, we need to give importance to these words to remember them. And phosphorin is one more protein of one hemoglobin, which on acted upon by macrophages, they convert into bile pigment known as bilirubin. This is first released into blood and next into the bile by the liver. So it is just now getting excreted in the form of bile. And ESR is nothing but sedimentary rate. ESR full form is erythrocyte sedimentary rate. So this is also like, if you centrifug, if you see that most of the RBCs are coming to the bottom, that is nothing but sedimentation rate. So in female, the sedimentation rate is increased mainly during, if our age is increasing, and during pregnancy you can see that sedimentation rate is increasing, and there is higher amount of fibrinogen, immunoglobulins, autophase reactants, then the RBC will form the clusters more quickly and form the stacks called as Roliacs. So Roliac stalks are formed at the bottom. So this is having nothing but higher erythrocyte sedimentation. And higher erythrocyte sedimentation rate is mainly measured by Wintrobe or Westrunger method. So according to Westrunger method, ESR, that is sedimentary erythrocyte sedimentary rate in male, is 15 millimeter per hour. So you can remember that this sedimentation rate is measured in the form of millimeter per hour. So in male it is 15 millimeter per hour, and in female it is 20 millimeter per hour. So this is all a complete quick review on red blood cells, erythrocytes. It's chapter 19 from Guyton. So this is all about our red blood cells, blood physiology.